Hello, welcome to my little paintbrush. We get to paint the blue hedgehog today, one of our class favorites. So I hope you enjoy yourself. Remember to have fun. This is all about you learning as we go and just enjoying the creative process, right? So grab some brushes. We need a flat brush, a small flat brush, and a detail, or whatever works for you. Get a jar of water or a cup of water and a napkin. And then also make sure all of your paint colors are spread out, just like this, or something like it, right? You want to have all your colors spread out in front of you so you can see them and get them quickly. And also your white, make sure it's separated because otherwise it gets contaminated all at once and it's hard to use it after that, okay? So let's first warm up our paint muscles by grabbing our large flat or the biggest one you have. And let's put it in some water, shake it out because our brush needs to start with water in the bristles, especially when we're using acrylic. And our background for this blue Sonic is red, right? So I'm going to add some white to my red. Instead of just painting straight on there with red, I always mix some white. Acrylic paint loves white. It helps it go on so much better. But here's the trick. When you're using red, if you put too much white into it, it's going to turn pink, okay? So not too much white. We want to go easy, a little bit at a time. Now, if you want it to have a little orange shade to it, I like to add some yellow as well. So I'm going to pick up some yellow and mix it into my red too. That's going to make it a little bit orangey, which is kind of fun. So I'm going to mix that in there. It's the hedgehog colors, right? It's slightly orangey. So now that I have my color ready, I'm going to start at the top and we're just going to fill it in. Fill in that space all the way up. Reach up high, brush up and down, filling in all that space. We want all the white pockets of our canvas filled. We're going to be really careful as we get close to our hedgehog. We don't want to paint inside, right? So we're going to be pretty careful there. But if you accidentally paint inside, let's not panic, okay? Remember, when it comes to painting, we can't mess up. Whenever we are creating, they're just happy accidents, you know? Sometimes our paintbrush tells us what we're going to do. Or if you need to cover something up that you don't like, paint is great that way. Let it dry and come back. You can cover it up later. And it's also all about the layers. We're going to do lots of layers as we go. All right, so just have fun with it. Do your best. These little tiny corners by the nose are a little tricky. You have to use the very tippy point of your brush to get into those little corners. It's called the toe of your brush, okay? And you have to slow down a little bit when you get close to that. Now that I've done the top part, I'm going to come down and do right under my nose. See that? And paint under the nose. And all the way up next to the belly and paint that as well. Brush it in. One thing we love to do is called wrapping our canvas. We like to reach around the sides and paint the sides of our canvas and the top of our canvas. So if you want to do that too, it just looks really nice. You're going to notice that Miss Sarah is putting white on her brush, right? You see how I'm doing that? And I'm brushing up close to Sonic with some white on the corner of my brush. I'm just doing this. Put a little bit of white on the corner and I brush up close. Not everybody does that. I like doing it because I kind of like to give Sonic a little bit of a glow. And when you do a lighter shade of your color up close to him, he just looks like he's glowing a little bit. So if you want to do that, go for it. Put a little white on the corner and brush up close. Now that I've done down below here, I'm going to reach up tall and work on the other side of Sonic. I'm going to do the top corner up here. I love that really cool hair. See that? And again, I'm going to put some white on the corner of my brush and go along that edge of Sonic. It just makes it a little bit lighter up close to him. Cool, cool, right? All right, and we're going to do between the ears too. And it looks like a triangle shape. So I'm going to fill that in. Don't want to miss that part. And then we have a triangle shape over here too, right between that hair, huh? So I'm going to fill in that little tiny spot. And imagine it's just a triangle, a sideways triangle that you're filling in. Reach around and paint the sides of your canvas right there if you need to. And let's go below. You have another triangle shape. It's a little more wonky, but it's there. Under that hair. We're going to fill that in too. So cool. There we go. Okay, I think that's all of it. I don't think I forgot one. I'm really good at forgetting. So I just want to make sure. I think I got it all. I'm just going to tighten up my canvas here. I want to make sure I don't get too many lumps in it. There we go. Perfect. Okay, let's rinse our brush. Clean it really good. Otherwise, Sonic's going to be purple because red and blue make purple, right? And we're going to work on our Sonic's hair next. So I'm going to make sure my brush is rinsed out. I'm using the same one. And Sonic is a lighter blue than this, right? And you can see my blue kind of went into my white here. That's okay. It's because my plate is turned sideways when I'm painting. So I get all that blue in there. But I want a light blue. And you want a lot of it. Make sure you mix a lot of light blue for your Sonic, whatever shade you want. But save a little bit of blue for later because you're going to do some shading with it. So I want to save a little bit for later. But I do mix a lot because look how big Sonic's head is. Lots of hair. Okay, and when I'm brushing Sonic's hair, I'm pretending my paintbrush is a hairbrush. So all my brush strokes go out. That's going to make his hair look even more spiky. So I'm going to brush out as I go. See that? So try and pretend that your brush is a hairbrush and you are brushing Sonic's hair, right? Give it those fun strokes. It's also shaped at the top kind of like a rainbow. So it's not flat, it curves a little bit, right? I'm going to curve it out just like that. And around the ears. I'm not painting inside the ears yet. There's a reason we're not painting them yet. Now let's do our next strand of hair. And again, I'm brushing as if that hair is spiky. Okay, just like that. Filling it all in. Still using a flat brush to fill in the space. And I'm curving it. I'm curving all of those different strands of spikes so they come together, but I curve them all the same direction so they stack on each other. See that? Right off the canvas. And you can reach around and paint the sides of your canvas too if you want to. So if you're wrapping it, this is a good time to reach around and paint the blue on the sides where they wrap. And now let's do our bottom one. And this one goes down right to the bottom of your canvas. Right off the bottom. And then you can paint the bottom of your hedgehog right on the bottom of the canvas. Wrap that hair around. Now I'm going around the head, but I'm not painting in the head. See that? I'm trying to wrap around with my outline and down next to the arm, but I'm not painting inside the head yet. And the reason we do this in steps is as your paint dries, it leaves an outline for you, so you can find it easier. Really is helpful when you don't want to lose it. So now that I've done my spikes, I'm going to come up here and paint around my eye. So again, I'm not doing my ears yet. I'm waiting on the ears. I haven't done it yet. Okay, let's paint around the mouth. As careful as we can. But remember, we're going to paint it in a minute, so don't worry too much if you paint inside a little bit. That's okay. Do around my eyes, as careful as I can, right? Trying not to pick up my brush. And if I'm going too fast for you, you can pause this tutorial take a minute to get all the little details that you might need a little more time on. Okay? Or maybe I'm going too slow for you. So then you can forward a little bit and go faster if you want. That's the awesome thing with tutorials. You can go at your pace. You do what works for you. Okay, so I painted around, right? I still haven't done my ears yet. Still haven't. I'm making sure I get the head done first. I'm going to come all the way down close to the nose. And curve around next to the eyes. Just like that, and back up. Now I'm going to go around my eyes as careful as I can. We're going to paint those white later though, so it's okay. If you accidentally paint inside a little bit, it's kind of tricky. Doing shapes is always kind of tricky, especially when you're doing a character. We're just going to do our best job, and that is good enough, okay? All right, now that I've done that, you can switch brushes if you need a smaller brush, because we're going to do this tiny little spot right next to his belly. See that? Now you can use the very toe of your brush, which is what I'm using right now, or you can switch and use a smaller brush. We want to paint. See, I'm using the tippy point of my brush to get into these tiny little corners. We call it the toe. It's that tippy point. I'm going to paint around the arm. But just remember, characters are kind of tricky because you have lots of different shapes to do. So it's okay to take your time. And it's a painting, not a print, so it's okay. Now that I've done the head, I'm going to come up here and do my ears. And my ears are just triangle shapes that come right off the canvas, right? But because I waited till the end to do my ears, I'm going to be able to see my outline better of where my ears are going, because as you layer that paint next to the head, it's going to create an outline for you. Super awesome, right? Now I'm going to do this part here, but you know what? If you do lose the outline, I'm going to show you how to get it back, okay? Don't worry too much. We're going to go around the inside of the ear though too. So the outside's a triangle and the inside is a triangle. All right, connect those. Paint up and down, fill it in all the way around the center of your ear. And there you have it, guys. You did it. You have put all the blue on. Now go through and make sure that you don't have any thick paint or any white spots showing. Okay? You want to make sure you have it nice and covered. I always go through and brush and make sure it looks good. Okay, let's see. We're going to rinse our brush out. Make sure it's nice and clean. For our next step, let that blue dry for a minute. And we're going to put our belly on and our mouth, okay? So let's take a little bit of white and mix it with this raw sienna. It looks yellow, right? But it's called raw sienna. It is a shade of yellow, but it's got a little more brown in it. See that? And I'm going to mix some white with it. So you can change the shade if you want it a lot lighter or darker. Totally up to you, okay? I'm going to change that shade a little bit. So I really lightened it up. Now, I'm going to go ahead and fill in the mouth. And go all the way around here. Fill in that space all the way around the eye and curve it out by the nose. Try not to hit your blue. If your blue is wet, make sure you don't paint on top of it and drag that blue into your mouth. You might have to wait just a minute and let that painting dry. See how Miss Sarah did that? I got a little blue in it. So I'm going to rinse my brush. Don't keep painting. You want to make sure you rinse your brush if you get that blue in there. and wait a minute for it to dry, or rinse your brush and go back over it. That will really help if you stop. Sometimes we just want to keep painting and then our whole thing just turns blue on us. Okay, so I've got my mouth on there. Now I'm gonna do my belly. There we go. Right up close here to the edge, and it's a big half circle. See that? We're just filling in that half circle. All the way up. And around. Just like that. And then you can reach down and paint the bottom of your canvas right there if you need to. And then let's do our arm. And our arm is just straight down right off the canvas. It's a long rectangle and it's curved at the top, right? So it's a rectangle, but it's curved. Give him a shoulder. He looks like he's getting ready to run, or he is running right now, right? So his arm is swinging behind him. So I'm curving up the top, painting straight down. There you have it. Good work. Now we have one more thing to do, and that is the inside of the ear. And if you need a smaller brush, get a smaller brush. Okay? Because it is a smaller shape up here, right? It's a small little triangle shape. So you might need a smaller brush. Fill it in. Same color as my mouth and my arm and my belly. Same color unless you decided to change it to a different color. Perfect. All filled in. Good work. Let's rinse our brush out. It's already looking like Sonic. So good. Hopefully your blue is all dry now, and if it is, let's load your brush up with some white, and you're going to paint the outside of your eye. Okay, I'm just going to get up close to the green part of his eye, but I am going to paint everything else white, and then I'm going to show you how to do a quick shadow. Okay, so I've got my eye white. I did it kind of fast, right? Make sure you brush it out though. Don't have any thick paint, okay? Now you can make gray by mixing a little bit of black, just a touch of black with some white. And you can make gray like that. And then take a detail brush and outline the top of the eye. You know what a detail brush is, right? A detail brush is your smallest brush, like this. So if I were to outline it, I would take my tiniest brush, put that gray on it that I just made, and I'd follow that edge with the gray and make a shadow. See that? Or you can float it. This works just fine. See how I just did a little shadow right there? Or you can float that edge with a little gray on the corner of your brush, and I follow that edge with the gray on top of my white, and you can see how it fades a little different, right? Okay, so whichever one you like better, you do it. You're just going to add that little bit of shadow. So whatever works for you. Then let's let that dry a minute. Awesome. Now I'm going to rinse my brush, and I'm going to grab my detail brush, and we're going to paint the green part of the eye now. So here's the green part, and I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. Make sure you get a small brush, because this is a tiny little spot in our hedgehog's eye. We want to use a small brush to be able to paint inside of that, right? So I'm using my detail, or my line brush is what I call it. I'm going to fill it in on both sides. And we'll just let it dry a minute before we do the black. We don't want to do our black right away, even though it's very tempting. Gotta let it dry a second, okay? So let's just fill in the green, let it dry. I rinse my brush. Okay, and while that's drying for a sec, I'm gonna just show you how to do your shadows on your hair. So remember how I told you to save some blue for later? Okay, you can take a big flat brush or a little flat brush. I'll use the little one. Might be a little easier for you to follow. So I'm going to take my small flat brush and put dark blue on it, just like that. And imagine that your ears are casting a shadow right here. Okay, and all of our shadows are shaped like a triangle. So I'm going to do it kind of dark so you can see it. But you see how I have a triangle behind the ear? Okay. I'm just going to brush my triangle shape right behind the ear like that. Okay, now I did it really dark so you can see it. It doesn't have to be that dark. You can kind of fade it out a little bit. But you can see how there's a shadow now, right, behind the ear, okay? And then let's take another one right here. I'm going to shape out another triangle. Here's your next shadow. So it's right along the bottom and the top of the next hair spike that comes out, right? See that? So I'm going to fill that in with a darker blue, but see how it's an upside down triangle? Okay, and that too, I kind of just fade it out a little bit. I want it to be dark so you can see it though. And then we're going to do another one, and it's on this one, so it's right along the bottom where that spike goes down and straight across. So you have another triangle shape there. And that too is filled in. Just like that. And fill that in. There's your other little shadow. And then we have one more. And this one is going to be right behind the arm and the head. So I want you to curve out a little bit of a head shape there. If you want this shadow. And do another triangle shape right there under the head. Just think triangles. It even matches his hair, right? And then I do a little shadow behind his arm too. Like that. See that little shadow? Awesome. So there you go. Now you have all your shadows on there, right? And it's not too hard. I think you can do it. You can try it and see how it goes. Have fun putting those shadows on. You can darken them up or lighten them up now that you know how to do it. Kind of fun though. Gives our painting a little bit of dimension, right? Okay, I think your eye is ready. So we're gonna do all our black now. It's the last thing you're gonna do before you're highlighting. Okay. So I'm going to take my detail brush, put it in water, and add water to my black. So we got to do our nose. And if our black has seized up on us and is super thick, it's going to be really hard. So I always take my brush, dip it in water, and stir it in my black, just like this. Okay, and let's start with our nose. Let's just shape it out. So I like to outline my nose first, just like that. All the way around to my mouth. And then I fill it in, getting close to my mouth here, but I'm not going to touch it. I'm trying not to. I'm going to try and just come close. You can curve it out there at the front, but I'm going to outline it in a minute. Now you don't have to outline it if you don't want to. So I'm going to show you all the things you can do to finish it without outlining it. Okay. So once I do the nose, now I'm ready to do the middle part of my eye because it should be dry, right? Our green should be dry for us. So we're going to shape out the middle. It matches the outside, but it's in black. And then fill it in. So it matches your green shaped eye. Comes to a little bit of a point, right? Because that's how his eye is. And then let's paint the bottom. Right along the mouth. Okay, just like that. Now you have his eye. And now let's give him a mouth. And to give our hedgehog a mouth, I'm gonna first come up at an angle, and you can leave it just like that. Looks like he's thinking. We're not sure if he's happy or sad. We don't know, right? And a lot of artists leave it just like that, and that's so fun. Or you can give him a little bit of a smile. Do another line coming up. See that? And then right at the top, I'm just gonna curve it in a rainbow shape. Right at the top. Just like that. Just to make it look like he's got a little crease in his cheek, right? So there you go. Isn't that fun? Just like that. And now you have a mouth on your hedgehog. I'm gonna thicken the lines a little bit. Just like that. I love it. Okay, now right here, all I have left is outlining and highlighting. You can leave it just like this and it looks great. You can even take the back of your brush and dip it in white like that. Give yourself a nice chocolate chip and stamp it in the eye right here. So he looks like he has a reflection. And you can leave it like this and he looks so great. I'm gonna finish him up by outlining and adding a couple more highlights. So if you wanna stick with me, we're gonna finish. I start at the top and I'm gonna outline the ear first. That way I don't smear it as I go. Okay, so I'm gonna do that on my ear. And this is where I'm gonna separate my ear. So right at the top where you can see the top of my ear come down at an angle, as if you're painting your triangle shape right down the side. Okay, and then right inside the ear, we're just gonna give it a little bit of a shadow. So I outline a little bit inside the ear, but not all the way around. Just to give a little bit of a shadow in the ear, right? There we go. Okay, now we've got to separate the top of the head. So I'm going to come right up and around, just like that, to separate it. So I have one ear behind the other. And now let's come down the front. Just outline the front of the head. I'm going to come up just a little bit around the eye. So I don't outline the whole thing, just some of it. And then we're going to do the front of the eye. And now we're going to outline the top of the face, under the eye, and back up. Just like that. We want to finish it off, right? And I don't go all the way around. I just kind of let it fade out right there. Now let's finish the bottom part. Just like that. A little bit on the side if you want to, but I just fade it out right there too. Now let's do our belly. It's going to come up and around. Perfect. And I don't do all the belly either. Just let it fade out right there. You can go all the way around if you want to, but let's do the top right here, all the way to the shoulder. Okay. And we're going to go right around the shoulder to separate it and let it fade out a little bit on the other side too. There we go, perfect. Now you've already created your shadow right here, so you're going to follow your shadow and create the back of the head. Give it a little line. Okay, all you have left now are your spikes, and I don't outline all of them. I just kind of do a little bit at the top, let it fade out so I can see it, and I'll do the same here. I do a little bit inside so I can see where it comes in, the hair. Otherwise it gets a little bit lost, huh? Same here, it's going to come down just a little bit right there. And then I imagine there's a shadow here under the hair, so I'm going to curve it out just a little bit with that black. Give it a little shadow. I think that's everything for that, making sure. But yep, all you have left now is your highlighting. And you are done. Oh, I did come up a little bit on this side with my eye. That's right. And you can outline the whole eye. I just didn't do it because I have my shadow right there, so I don't need to. Now you can use a detail brush or a line or a flat brush I'm going to show you how to do your highlighting really quick. I love highlighting. This is what makes everything pop and really stand out. So you'll notice I'm going to put a little line here on our hedgehog's nose. And now that nose really stands out, right? Okay, and so anytime I have the opportunity to add a little bit of light to my painting, I do it. I'm going to put some along the mouth. There's some inside my eye right here, just to make my eye stand out. Now you can keep outlining like that or use a flat brush and put a little bit of white on the corner like that. Okay, and we're just gonna highlight. So I'm gonna take it and follow the edge, just where I would do it with a detail brush too. So if you wanna use a detail brush, like I was just doing to do this, you can do that. And it works great. Works just fine. I got a little too much water in my brush, so now it's not quite bright enough for me. There we go. Want that white to stand out a little more. Okay, we're gonna go around the mouth, just along the outside of it, and the front of the belly, and the arm, along the top of the shoulder. Do that again. There we go. Okay, I think the water's dry, so I can put a little more. See, I wanted that to happen. That's better. Okay, and then we'll do the front of the nose or the head right here. So I'm putting a little bit of white there. And then we're going to give him an eyebrow. So I'm going to follow the top there. And I'm going to show you how we're going to give him an eyebrow, okay? So to give Sonic an eyebrow, we're going to come right up the middle, right here, and come up by the ear. Okay, so you're bringing it all the way up. And curve it around. Just like he's got an eyebrow and he's really, really curious. He's up to something. So I like to give him an eyebrow. And you can, again, just outline that, right? Up and around. Okay, then I'm just going to do the inside right here. Add a little light to the inside of the ears and along the top of the blue of the hair. So we're just going to brush it along there. One there, one here, and one right there. Anywhere we want that hair to be flying. Brush it on there. See how cool that looks once you add the light? And then one more, just the back of the head right here. Just like that. So I want to make sure all of my light is really showing up. And you guys, you did it. You did Sonic, and he looks amazing, I'm sure. Right? Isn't he cool? So the last thing you're gonna do is sign your name, because you know what? We are really proud of ourselves, right? As artists, we did a really good job. This was a big deal, painting Sonic, the hedgehog, the blue hedgehog here. Okay? So now that I'm all done, I'm gonna grab a detail brush and find a spot to sign my name. Because you know that artists sign their name, right? They claim their work. So you can sign your name or leave your mark on your canvas however you want. Totally up to you. There we go. Thank you for painting with me. I hope you had as much fun as I did painting this blue hedgehog. If you had a good time, please give us a thumbs up. Come back for more. So subscribe, because we have a lot of other tutorials we'll be releasing soon, and we hope to paint with you again soon. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.